Have you ever noticed how desperately we try to grasp what naturally slips away? The moment you attempt to hold water in your clenched fist is precisely when it escapes through your fingers. This peculiar paradox lies at the heart of our relationships, our connections, our desperate attempts to capture and possess the affections of another. You see, we're living in a world absolutely obsessed with techniques, with formulas, with magical incantations that promise to deliver what cannot be delivered by formula. Text him these 5 words and watch him chase you non-stop. What an extraordinary claim! As if human beings were mechanical toys that could be wound up with the right verbal key. But let's pause and really look at this. What are we actually seeking when we wish to be chased? Is it not extraordinary that our language of love is the language of pursuit and capture? He's falling for you. You've caught his attention. He's pursuing you. She's playing hard to get. We hunt each other like predators and prey in this strange game we call romance. The hunter becomes the hunted, the pursuer becomes the pursued, and round we go in this maddening dance of desire. Now, I'm not dismissing your wish for connection. That's perfectly natural. We are, after all, not separate egos encased in bags of skin, but expressions of the same underlying reality. Connection is our natural state. But the way we go about seeking it, that's where we get ourselves into all sorts of trouble. When you attempt to manipulate another person's feelings, when you calculate the precise words that will make him chase you, what you're really doing is trying to control the uncontrollable. It's like trying to flatten all the waves in the ocean. You might succeed momentarily in one small area, but the fundamental nature of water is to wave. The fundamental nature of relationships is to flow, not to be controlled. Think about it this way. Imagine you're playing a game of chess. You've studied all the moves, all the strategies. You know exactly how to respond to every possible move your opponent might make. And so you sit down at the table, confident in your ability to control the game. But then your opponent does something completely unexpected. They knock over the board, they change the rules. They decide they don't want to play chess after all, but prefer a game of Go. All your careful planning, all your strategic thinking, useless. Relationships are like that. The moment you think you've got it all figured out, the moment you think you've found the formula, everything changes. Because you're not dealing with a predictable system, you're dealing with a living, breathing mystery, another consciousness as vast and complex as your own. So, what about these 5 magic words that supposedly make him chase you non-stop? Well, I hate to disappoint you, but there are no magic words. Or rather, all words are magic words when they come from a place of authenticity, when they emerge not from calculation, but from the mysterious depths of your true nature. You see, we're all playing a game of hide and seek with ourselves and each other. I'll hide who I really am, and you try to find me, but not too easily. I want to be pursued, but not fully known. I want to be desired, but not possessed. What an exhausting game. And all the while, what we truly desire is to be seen, to be recognized, to be acknowledged in our fundamental nature, which is not separate from all that is. Let me tell you a story from the Zen tradition. A master was approached by a student who asked, "How can I find enlightenment?" The master replied, "Have you eaten your breakfast?" The student said, "Yes." And the master said, "Then wash your bowl." What does this have to do with relationships, with making someone chase you? Everything. Because it points to the profound truth that what we seek is not found in elaborate strategies, but in the simple, direct experience of what is. The problem with these formulaic approaches to relationships, text him these 5 words, is that they perpetuate the illusion that love, connection, and desire are things to be manipulated rather than experienced. They keep us trapped in the mentality of the ego, which is always trying to get something, to achieve something, to become something. But love doesn't work that way. Love isn't something you get. It's something you recognize is already there. Now, I'm not suggesting you shouldn't text him at all. Communication is, after all, how we bridge the illusory gap between ourselves and others. But there's a world of difference between texting from a place of calculation and texting from a place of authenticity, between words designed to manipulate and words that express your actual being. Consider this. What if instead of asking, "What words will make him chase me?" you asked, "What words will allow me to be more fully myself with him?" What if instead of trying to create desire, you allowed yourself to express desire? What if instead of playing the game, you acknowledged the game for what it is and stepped outside of it altogether? This brings us to a fundamental paradox of human relationships. The more you chase after being chased, the more it eludes you. The more you manipulate to be desired, the less authentic that desire becomes. It's like trying to force yourself to fall asleep. The very effort prevents the thing you're trying to achieve. Instead, what if you allowed yourself to be fully present, fully yourself? What if you recognized that you, just as you are, without strategies or formulas, are an expression of the same magnificent mystery that gives rise to stars and galaxies? What if you saw that in your natural state, not trying to be more attractive or less needy or more mysterious? You are already complete. Let me suggest something radical. Perhaps the most attractive quality isn't found in saying particular words that make someone chase you, but in being so completely at home in yourself that you don't need to be chased at all. There's an extraordinary power in that kind of self-possession, not the egoic kind that builds walls, but the kind that comes from recognizing your connection to all that is. When you're no longer trying to get something from the other person, validation, attention, in proof of worth, you become like a fragrant flower that naturally draws the bee without any effort to attract. The flower doesn't try to be attractive. It simply is what it is. And that natural beingness is irresistibly attractive. This brings us back to those supposedly magical 5 words. What if the words themselves don't matter nearly as much as the consciousness from which they emerge? What if the most attractive thing you could possibly communicate isn't some clever phrase, but your unfiltered presence, your willingness to be seen, not as you think you should be, but as you actually are? There's an old Taoist concept called Wu Wei, often translated as non-doing or effortless action. It's the idea that the most effective action comes not from striving and forcing, but from being in harmony with the natural flow of things. The master calligrapher doesn't achieve perfect brush strokes by tensing up and trying really hard, but by becoming so at one with the brush that the strokes flow naturally without calculation. Relationships are like this too. The most profound connections don't come from carefully executing strategies, but from that place of Wu Wei where you're so completely yourself that there's no gap between who you are and how you appear, between what you feel and what you express. Now, this doesn't mean you should just blurt out every thought that crosses your mind or text him at 3 a.m. with a stream of consciousness about your deepest insecurities. That's not authenticity. That's just another form of grasping. True authenticity has a quality of restfulness about it, a sense of ease. It doesn't demand or cling or strategize, it simply is. Imagine you're sitting by a forest pool. The water is perfectly still, reflecting the trees and sky above. You want to see your reflection, so you reach out to touch the water, and immediately the reflection is distorted by ripples. You can't grasp the reflection. You can only let it be. Relationships are like this. The moment you try to control the reflection to make yourself appear a certain way to the other person, you disturb the very thing you're trying to see. So what might this look like in practice? Instead of asking, "What words will make him chase me?" perhaps ask, "What is it I truly want to express?" Instead of calculating the effect of your communication, simply allow it to arise naturally from who you are. This doesn't mean you won't experience desire or longing or uncertainty. All those are part of the magnificent dance of human connection. But it does mean you won't be a slave to those feelings, manipulating yourself and others in a desperate attempt to control what cannot be controlled. You know, there's something wonderfully liberating about giving up the need to be chased. When you no longer need another person's pursuit to validate your worth, you're free to engage with them from a place of genuine curiosity and openness. You're free to see them not as a source of validation, but as another expression of the same mystery that you are. And in that recognition, there's a kind of love that doesn't grasp or cling or manipulate, but simply celebrates the connection that's already there. In the end, perhaps the most powerful words you could text aren't some magical formula designed to create desire, but whatever words most honestly express your authentic being in that moment. Maybe it's, "I'm thinking of you." Maybe it's, "This reminded me of our conversation." Maybe it's simply, "Hello." The words themselves matter far less than the consciousness from which they emerge. So I invite you to consider this. What if instead of trying to make him chase you non-stop, you gave up the whole framework of pursuit and capture? What if instead of playing the game, you recognized that the game itself is what keeps us separate? What if instead of asking, "How can I get him to want me?" you asked, "How can I more fully express who I am?" There's an extraordinary freedom in that shift of perspective. A freedom that comes not from controlling others, but from releasing the need to control. A freedom that emerges when you recognize that what you truly are needs no enhancement, no manipulation, no strategies to be worthy of love. In the space of that freedom, connection naturally arises. Not the grasping, needy kind that's always looking for more, but the kind that recognizes itself in the other, the kind that doesn't need to be chased because it's already home. So perhaps the real magic words aren't the ones that make him chase you, but the ones that free you from needing to be chased at all. The ones that allow you to stand firmly in your own being, complete and whole. From that place of wholeness, whatever words emerge will carry the resonance of your authentic self. And that resonance, far more than any calculated strategy, is what creates the possibility for genuine connection. And now, as our time together draws to a close, I invite you to sit with this, to feel the truth of it in your own experience. Not as a concept to be understood, but as a reality to be lived. Because in the end, all our words, even these I'm speaking now, are just fingers pointing at the moon. Don't mistake the finger for the moon itself. If you found some resonance in these reflections, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and join our ongoing exploration of consciousness and connection. Perhaps leave a comment sharing a moment when you experience the freedom of being authentically yourself in a relationship. And remember, the next time you're tempted to search for those magical 5 words that will make him chase you non-stop, that the most magnetic force in the universe isn't manipulation, but the simple, unadorned truth of who you already are.